my beloved Batties, and welcome to another episode of Truth Behind the Tale, the series where I take a look at some of our most famous fairy tales and then delve into their real-world historical and cultural origins. And today we're going to be taking a look at Hansel and Gretel. Wilhelm and Jacob Grimm first heard Hansel and Gretel from Wilhelm's friend and future wife, and they published it in 1812. The first version actually has the woodcutter's wife as the children's biological mother rather than a stepmother, and the decision to abandon them is placed between the two parents rather than the stepmother convincing the father. Even though the brothers Grimm recorded the story in their native Germany, it's been suggested that Hansel and Gretel is actually part of a group of tales popular in the Baltic lands, which tend to feature children outwitting ogres into whose clutches they had accidentally fallen. In this argument, it's pointed out that Hansel and Gretel has some similarities with two other tales, one of which was written by Charles Perrault over 100 years before the time of the Grimm brothers. In these stories, abandoned children try to find their way home by following a trail, as well as the girl killing a giant by pushing him into a lit oven, and the boy tricking his captor by holding out a twig. In Hansel and Gretel, these elements are still there, but they've been changed so that Gretel is the one who pushes the witch into the oven, and Hansel holds out a bone instead of his finger for the witch to feel, to make her think that he is not as fat as she would like him to be. Folklorist Edward Varger has suggested that the details of these stories might be the remnants of an old coming-of-age rite which were present in Proto-Indo-European society. Another tale it shares similarities from also comes from Russia, where an evil stepmother asks her stepdaughter to go into the forest and borrow a light from her sister, but the sister turns out to be a cannibalistic witch called Baba Yaga. In addition, a house made out of confectionery can be found in a 14th century manuscript detailing the land of cocaine, which was a land of plenty common in medieval myth, where food was plentiful, the weather was always fair, and everybody enjoyed eternal youth. During the time period that this story would have taken shape, this idea of a land of plenty would have been like an unattainable dream to many peasants. The overarching themes which tend to run through all of these different variants of the story is the children's resourcefulness, but also the emphasis on food. The children's stepmother, or mother, depending on the variant of the story, wishes to avoid starvation, so she abandons the children where they fall into the clutches of a cannibalistic enemy which they then dispatch. This might have connections to a real historical event which happened in the early 14th century called the Great Famine. While famines weren't dreadfully uncommon in medieval Europe, this one was particularly damaging. Most of Europe was affected by serious crop failure, and it led to mass crime, disease and death, with cannibalism and infanticide also being committed. In regards to this last point, desperate families would abandon their children to fend for themselves, or if they had no options left, they would even kill the children for food. I personally find it rather ironic that Sleeping Beauty seems to be the fairy tale which is always brought up in conversation nowadays to illustrate macabre origins. But for me, that unfortunate crown goes to Hansel and Gretel. Because unlike Sleeping Beauty, this one probably does have very real-world origins. The gingerbread house might not have existed, but abandoned and cannibalised children certainly did. Wow, that was a gruesome one. Okay, Batties, so on that lovely note, that is all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single video. The next episode of Truth Behind the Tale will be coming on the last Tuesday of next month. And since next month is October and Halloween month, I've got an even more gruesome one for you. Yay! I can hear your cheers now. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I will see you again very soon in another video. Bye!